Welcome back to our final session at the 2024 Fall ADRC meeting. My name is Heather O'Connell, and I'm the CLARiTI Program Manager at NAC. Please welcome to the stage Dr. Sterling Johnson and Elizabeth Mormino. Dr. Mormino is a multi-PI of CLARiTI and leader of Stanford ADRC Imaging Corps. Dr. Johnson is an Associate Director of the Wisconsin ADRC and also part of the multi-PI leadership team for CLARiTI. Welcome.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for staying around for this final session. We are excited to talk to you today about the CLARiTI study. We're mainly going to be giving a study update and also focusing on our national recruiting plan to make sure that we are inclusive of the subjects and participants we want to reach right from the get-go. We want to start by thanking all of our PI team, many of who are here today. Without this team, this project wouldn't be possible. Similarly, we want to thank all of our co-investigators, many of whom are core leaders and doing a heavy lift with this. It looks like my slides are just going by themselves. Also, our site PIs, including all of the ADRCs who are participating in this. All right, here we go. So the agenda for today is to focus on the scientific impact that Dr. Mormino and I will go over in our progress report. Dr. Biber will be talking about all the ways NAC is scaling up to support this project. Aaron Chin, who's the overall program lead or the administrative lead for our project, will give an update. And then Dr. Okonkwo will lead us in a discussion and an update on the National Inclusion Plan. Why are we focused on multi-etiology? We know largely from the NAC database and all the neuropathology in the NAC system that multi-pathologies are common. In fact, in a recent paper just this year published by the Irvine group, UC Irvine, they found that among people with AD, neuropathologic change in their brain, 65% of the time, there was at least one other of the big three proteinopathies, either TDP-43 or Lewy body or both. When you think about vascular disease, it's a very similar situation. About 61% of the time, based on the pathology that's in the NAC database, moderate to severe cerebrovascular disease is present 61% of the time at neuropathology. So that's pathology. Our field is making extraordinary progress in biomarkers of not just Alzheimer's, but now other proteinopathies. And that's reflected somewhat in the 2018 criteria, where vascular disease became an entity, a construct in the framework that you could specify. And now in the 24 criteria, synucleinopathy is a construct that is discussed, and as our biomarkers get better, we'll be able to really put some concrete criteria around those things as well. Well, how did we get here to this place in 2024, where we're working on a scientific project? This all started in 2017 to 2019 when the centers agreed to collect images together, and that is basically the mindset of a consortium that led to the funding of SCAN, thanks to NIA for providing this infrastructure. SCAN receives the images and processes the images. It doesn't fund the image, nor does it supply a study protocol and scientific aims. That is the job of individual projects that can use the SCAN infrastructure, and that's what CLARiTI does. I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Dr. Mormino.
All right, thanks, Sterling. So given the integration of these different imaging programs that we've seen throughout the last couple of years, we've seen a tremendous amount of standardized data coming into SCAN and currently being distributed and integrated with NAC. So as Bill mentioned today, when he showed this, I think, amazing kind of new data set, most of the scan data is coming from affiliated research studies, typically funded by R01s, or there were also these scan supplements that were given out, where investigators used ADRC participants in their imaging studies, and with these standardized protocols, gave this data to scan. Going forward, we know we have this P30 requirement now where we have more funding within our center's budget, and we're required to do 24 ATN sets per year. And then we've just recently started collecting this CLARiTI data. So now we really have these kind of 3 categories of standardized PET and MRI sessions that are feeding into this, this rapidly growing database. So thinking about projections, so with these different categories, and using amyloid PET as one example, this is what we think is going to happen over the next 5 years. So we anticipate over 10,000 amyloid PET scans will be collected. This could be anywhere, depending on the longitudinal designs of some of the affiliated studies, anywhere from 5,000 to 8,000 NAC participants that will have an amyloid scan. So really the scope of these efforts is quite dramatic. One thing that's really impressive about the current scan data set that's available for download, and is also, I think, a huge complement to the ADRC program, is already we're seeing that 25% of individuals with amyloid PET come from underrepresented populations based on race and ethnicity. So that's a great number. However, when we look at the individual sites, that's what's shown here in this plot. Counts are plotted on the left plot, and then those are converted to proportions within sites. The green proportion reflects the individuals that self-identify as non-Hispanic white, and the blue chunk represents individuals from underrepresented groups. We can see there's a tremendous amount of variability across sites. So this is something for us, I think, to better understand, and something to keep in mind as we are launching studies like CLARiTI. Another limitation that's been noticed with the current scan data set is there's a high level of missingness. So again, this is an incredible resource. It's over 3,600 participants that have at least one type of scan, so either an MRI, an amyloid PET, or a tau scan with these standardized protocols across sites. However, when we do the intersection of these 3 modalities, only 15% of the total of these participants have all 3 modalities collected. So this might be a site-level strategy. So for instance, maybe we don't need to collect tau PET on amyloid-negative individuals, but we also believe that this might be due to a lack of resources and a study protocol that really emphasizes all 3 modalities. Another limitation of the current scan data set is the majority are actually clinically unimpaired. So we know it's easier to scan folks that don't have impairment, and that's what this kind of passive model has resulted in. So in CLARiTI, we're really emphasizing clinical impairment, and we're gearing to target 2/3 of the enrollees as having clinical impairment. Another form of missingness, and is also an opportunity for studies like CLARiTI, is the intersection with plasma. So in the plasma space is rapidly advancing, is very important for novel biomarker discoveries. So if we just consider the PET scans that are currently available at SCAN and link that to the samples banked at NICRAD, it's only about 50% of the amyloid PET data set and the tau PET data set have a sample banked using a standardized protocol. Then when you further look at the intersection of having both modalities, we're all the way down to 326 participants with all 3. So again, here's another opportunity to eliminate missingness by having a study-driven approach, as what we're doing in CLARiTI. So to turn to the CLARiTI aims, there's really 2 overarching goals of this consortium. The first one is really infrastructure, and we're going to hear a lot about that today from Sarah. We really want to provide infrastructure and resources to support standardized PET imaging and MRI imaging, along with paired blood acquisition throughout the whole ADRC program. And we also have an overarching scientific goal to leverage this rich imaging and biofluid data to better define signatures representing multi-etiologies. We're planning to enroll 2,000 individuals. As I said, 60% will be impaired, and folks will come back for a second visit 2 to 3 years after their first baseline round of visits. It's really this unique opportunity to leverage the heterogeneity that's present both clinically, also in terms of demographics in our incredible ADRC program, and not to mention the high autopsy rate, so we expect eventually we will have the neuropath data as well with many of these participants. So here's a brief timeline of what we've been up to the last year. So CLARiTI was funded a little over a year ago, and in this year, it's been mostly getting the procedures ready and steady startup activities. The first scans were performed in Wisconsin in August, and we're currently working on site initiation visits to get all the sites up and running to be able to collect this data. So here's a list of example infrastructure that's currently in place after our first year of funding. One thing I really want to acknowledge is the tremendous work that's been done at Wisconsin with both getting the single IRB set up, the IND for the investigational ligands, and also sorting out the contracts with all the ligand companies so that we can leverage this resource for the whole program. So I think this was really a tremendous amount of work that is in place and is really going to improve efficiency going forward and also set an example for other types of imaging studies we might want to do with new ligands in the ADRC program. And the immediate next goals are really to get the funding to the individual performance sites and to also activate the site. So that's what's the focus is really going to be like starting now and through early 2025. So that's really the goal for year 2 of this grant. So with that, I'm going to pass this over to Sarah Biber, who's going to tell us more about the collaboration between NAC and CLARiTI and all the infrastructure work that she's been leading at NAC. Thank you.
All right, hello everyone. Last session of the day, and a very exciting one to end on. We are so excited about the CLARiTI collaboration and all of the amazing stuff that's coming to fruition as a result of that. So I'm excited to share more about what we've been doing on the NAC side of things and how we've been expanding our informatics and operational infrastructure to really help amplify and accelerate CLARiTI. So as you are aware, NAC serves as the centralized data repository and communication and collaboration hub for all of you, the ADRC program. And as I mentioned yesterday, our overarching goal is really to leverage the unique strengths of our program of NAC to advance ADRD discovery and translation. So we believe that NAC and the ADRC program really have a valuable and unique role to play in enabling the research community to tackle the most pressing challenges and opportunities in the field. And these include early detection, disentangling heterogeneity, validating blood biomarkers, identifying and stratifying risk factors and protective mechanisms, enabling precision medicine, and improving the generalizability of findings. So to empower the research community to effectively tackle complex challenges in ADRD, we're really focused on making increasing amounts and varieties of high quality, harmonized and integrated data from the ADRC program readily and freely available to the field. So as I'll explain during my brief talk here, our collaboration with CLARiTI is really at the heart of much of this critical modernization that is happening at NAC right now. So the imaging, fluid, and biomarker and digital morphology data that CLARiTI is enabling collection of will enable important advances and further amplify the value of all the data that NAC collects. So over the past 3 years, as I mentioned before, we've been dramatically expanding our mission and our role at NAC, so to provide advanced informatics and operational infrastructure to implement new frameworks, facilitating impactful communication and collaboration, and also doing more to support the next generation of researchers. One of the primary informatics advances at NAC is, of course, our new modern cloud-based multimodal data integration and harmonization platform. So this platform includes new streamlined electronic data capture and submission system, is enabling the integration of new data streams, expanded interoperability with partner repositories and initiatives, and is improving ADRC program data discovery, utilization, impact through innovative new tools like NAC's Data Front Door. So over the past few years, NAC has also amplified its operational support for the ADRC program. So this includes providing extensive support for ADRC groups and initiatives, convening more of the ADRC program through biannual meetings like this, leveraging new communication channels to further highlight the value and impact of the ADRC program, and also facilitating collaboration via real-time ADRC program directory and live community forum. So all of this informatics and operational advances that have been happening at NAC have really put us in a strong position to enable accelerate major ADRC program-wide grants and initiatives like CLARiTI. So for over a year now, we've been collaborating with CLARiTI team to leverage and build off of our informatics and operational infrastructure to successfully launch the CLARiTI initiative across the whole ADRC program. So we've also been ensuring that these efforts are synergized with other key ADRC program initiatives like SCAN. So let's take a closer look at what we're building. So as you've heard, CLARiTI is focused on collecting critical data to enable researchers to disentangle heterogeneity, validate blood biomarkers, and improve the generalizability of findings. So in order to accomplish this, we're building pipelines to amplify collection of fluid biomarkers in collaboration with NICRAD, and imaging data in collaboration with SCAN, and also with Dirk Keen and team to establish a pipeline for digital neuropathology integration. So all this new data will be integrated with the other data streams available at NAC, and shared with the ADRCs via the ADRC portals and with researchers everywhere via the data front door. We're also collaborating with CLARiTI and ADRCs to return results to participants. So this is a first for NAC and something that we're interested in building on in the future, and I think is a really incredible feature of the CLARiTI initiative. So I'm going to take a few minutes to share more on the informatics infrastructure that we're putting in place for CLARiTI. So this includes electronic data capture, submission and tracking systems, building pipelines to amplify and integrate key new data streams that I mentioned, and also expanding our data sharing infrastructure. So I'm going to start with the data capture, submission and tracking. We will be leveraging the ADRC portals to make it easy for CLARiTI sites to submit, view, audit, and access and manage their CLARiTI participant data. ADRCs will be able to submit key data for CLARiTI via the portals. This will include electronic case report forms, those are up and running, MRI and PET data, digital neuropathology, and it will also direct you to NICRAD to submit fluid biomarker data. The electronic case report forms will capture all the protocol data for CLARiTI and be submitted through NAC's new electronic data capture and submission system, which is powered by REDCap. ADRCs will also be able to view, audit, and access their participant data. This will include local participant enrollment and diversity stats, so you can track the efforts of how your recruitment efforts are going, and all data modalities available for their participants in one integrated dashboard. This is also where ADRCs will go to track their payments for blood biomarkers and imaging data submission, because that is a really important feature of CLARiTI, that you will get paid for submitting those types of data. Importantly, ADRCs and our NIA program officers will also be able to access CLARiTI program-wide dashboards and reports, so they can have keep close tabs on how the program is going. So this will include CLARiTI-wide recruitment and enrollment statistics. We're currently collaborating with the Inclusion Corps to develop dashboards for that, and an interactive multimodal data dashboard that will cover all CLARiTI participants from across the entire program. So next, let's take a closer look at the pipelines we're building to acquire all of this data that we're talking about. So as Beth mentioned, the imaging landscape for the ADRC program is expanding. So scan-compliant images are coming in through several channels, including non-P30 funding mechanisms, P30s, and now via CLARiTI as well. Additionally, NAC is continuing to collect MITS protocol MRI and PET data, formerly referred to as legacy data, from across the ADRC program. So all this data will eventually be integrated at NAC and shared with researchers everywhere via the NAC data front door. So we've been teaming up with CLARiTI, SCAN, and Lonnie to streamline image processing for the ADRC program. So this is a schematic of where we're headed with this. So this new streamlined pipeline features a single point of image submission and a single point of data sharing. It leverages existing pipelines and is extensible to future ADRC program needs. So I'll walk you through a few features of this. and how we're hoping to accomplish this. So all MRI and PET images will be submitted through the ADRC portals. Associated metadata will also be captured at the same time with our REDCap-powered EDC. Images will then be routed to different pipelines for QC and analysis. So all the scan-compliant images will continue to be processed via the existing scan-LANI pipeline, which is working great. Mixed protocol MRI and PET and CLARiTI, mixed MRI and PET, as well as CLARiTI advanced MRI images will be processed via new pipelines within NAC's data platform powered by Flywheel. All images and associated analysis will then funnel back into the NAC data platform to be integrated and shared. ADRCs will be able to access all of their data via the ADRC portals, and researchers everywhere, once again, will be able to get all of this data through one access point at the data front door. So digital neuropathology is another important component of the CLARiTI initiative. So all digital neuropath data will be analyzed at the University of Washington's Brain Lab, led by Dr. Durkeen. The metadata raw images analysis results will then be integrated and shared through the channels that I mentioned. Similarly, fluid biomarker analyses will be performed at NICRAD by Dr. Tatiana Faroud's team. The resulting analyses, once again, and data will be shared out through the similar portals, Data Front Door. And all CLARiTI data will be available to the research community via the one-stop shop, Data Front Door. So there's a couple different key components of the Data Front Door here. And so that includes researchers will be able to, at first, request CLARiTI data via a quick access file data request system. So once again, that's where you can go and submit a 15-minute, takes 15 minutes to fill out a request, and you can get all of the data within 24 to 48 hours. It's all integrated with all the other data modalities that are available via NAC. We're in the process of building dashboards that will include up-to-date information on multimodal CLARiTI data availability. And we're also going to have a cohort browser tool that will allow researchers to build their own multimodal cohorts that include multimodal data from CLARiTI. So we're really, really excited about that feature. So next, I want to briefly share how CLARiTI is leveraging NAC's communication and collaboration infrastructure. So NAC has been providing operational support in multiple ways during this critical startup period. This has included disseminating surveys to facilitate data-informed decisions, a study startup dashboard to inform sites and all players on their progress, a CLARiTI-specific contact directory to track all ADRC and non-ADRC staff involved with CLARiTI. There are currently 583 contacts. That's a lot of people involved, and to facilitate communication. We've also co-developed a study handbook, which includes specific instructions for site study implementation. Next, CLARiTI is going to be providing communications and events. We've also been providing communications and event support, so distributing the CLARiTI Connect newsletter, hosting webinars to drive engagement, launching and maintaining websites for CLARiTI sites. And we're also in the process of building a public-facing recruitment website, which we're really excited about. Finally, and very importantly, NAC is managing the subaward process. So your money should be coming soon. We have initiated the process by collecting documentation that's collected from nearly all the sites and are building a payment dashboard to assist sites with tracking payments. So you can get a closer look by going to the CLARiTI website here, which already has lots of valuable information that is available. And this is a look at our study startup dashboard, which is also accessible via the CLARiTI website at NAC. So this is actually a publicly available dashboard, and it shows where sites are in the startup process. You can access it there via a button to have a look at how things are going and to track your own site's progress. And in addition, and really in conclusion, our partnership with CLARiTI is going to make critical new standardized, high quality and harmonized data modalities available to the global research community and ADRCs for ADRC participants. And by making all these different data modalities available for the same participants via the data front door and its associated components, NAC and CLARiTI are really going to enable researchers to ask and answer new questions to advance the field and increase data utilization across all partner repositories. So we're really, really excited about this initiative. It's going to be absolutely critical for next steps for the ADRC program, and are thrilled to have the opportunity to partner on this with CLARiTI. Thanks. Oh, and I would be remiss without saying that I want to call out all the amazing folks on the NAC team. There are many of us involved in this effort, and I want to give a special shout out to Heather O'Connell, who is our CLARiTI Program Manager at NAC and is doing an amazing job of driving implementation across all these different areas of work. So thank you so much, Heather, and thank you to the rest of the NAC team members that are involved in this important work. Thanks.
Okay, now we'd like to welcome to the stage Erin Chin from Wisconsin ADRC, CLARiTI's Program Administrator, on study updates.
Thank you. We have certainly accomplished a lot this past year, and I'll be referencing both UWs, so you'll have to pay attention. It has been such a delight working very closely with the NAC team this past year, and I want to thank you all on behalf of CLARiTI for your partnership this past year, just as we navigate this process and work through the unique qualities of each of your programs. So, oh, clicker, sorry. Let's see where, okay. I'm here to ground us in the day-to-day, and so I want to start by giving an update on the subawards. So as a reminder, the subawards are coming from NAC at the University of Washington. The Grants and Finance team has been in contact with all of the sites, collecting documentations. Those reviews are currently underway. We have updated the budget period for year one for the sites to reflect the dates of September 1st, 2024 through August 31st, 2025. And as a reminder, pre-award expenses are allowable up to 90 days. Site-specific communications from the NAC team will continue over the next few weeks, and priority is based on site readiness, which includes WCG IRB approval, site initiation visit, which I'll talk about shortly. So what can you do in the meantime? So first, please respond to subaward correspondence promptly. You can prepare your local RSP office to expect the subaward from the University of Washington on behalf of NAC. Continue working on your site readiness. So you can scan this QR code, the same one that Sarah showed, and you can just see where your site is in terms of site readiness in comparison to others. So we're hoping this creates a little bit of friendly competition. So the site initiation checklist, includes WCG IRB approvals, the site initiation visit, onboarding with the radioligand companies, scan qualification, among a few other startup tasks. You will also be invited to an Inclusion Corps launch call, which your team will meet with either Dr. Ozioma Okonkwo or Dr. Monica Rivera-Mint, co-leaders of the Inclusion Corps, to ensure that you are set up for success in terms of inclusion at your site. As part of CLARiTI, you will be working with the University of Wisconsin Central Monitoring Service. So this is to ensure we maintain sponsor compliance and also standardize our monitoring throughout all the sites. And we really see this as a benefit for the CLARiTI sites. We're hoping that this takes a little bit of pressure off your study teams. So before site activation, we will schedule a site initiation visit over Zoom. Dr. Johnson will go over the study protocol in great detail. I'll go over a regulatory review. Our two project coordinators will go over all of the case report forms in great detail. And then lastly, you'll hear from the central monitoring team. They'll cover the scope of their involvement with the study. They will also be conducting the interim monitoring visits throughout the study as well. So as you work through the study startup process, there are many ways that you can communicate with us. So visit the CLARiTI website, read the CLARiTI Connect newsletter that comes out every 6 to 8-ish weeks. Review our study handbook that came out a few weeks ago. That you can find that on our website. And please continue to join our monthly webinars. These have been really well attended. We have our next one coming up next month that will be presented by the SCAN team, so please join us. As part of our CLARiTI concierge approach, we have partnered all of the sites with one of our project coordinators. You can always contact our administrative team, our regulatory team, the Inclusion Corps through email at any point. Join our office hours. This is really a time set aside to meet with our admin team, the NAC team members, to just get any of your questions answered. So you're welcome to join those as well. And lastly, as part of the soon-to-launch NAC community forum, we will have a CLARiTI-specific group. So this is a Reddit-style forum in which you can chat with us and get your questions answered. So we have many exciting initiatives coming from our cores, a few upcoming highlights from the Return of Results core, led by Drs. Annalise Rahman-Filipiak and Lindsay Clark. So they have met with 4 pilot sites to really understand their interest in returning results and understand what needs that they have. They met with 3 expert sites to learn about best practices, and they will release their Return of Results toolkit in early 2025. They have plans for comprehensive training for the sites, including a training webinar as well as videos to support the rollout. And I'll briefly cover our inclusion core. So as mentioned already, there will be that lunch call with one of the core leaders. The core is working very closely with NAC to develop a diversity dashboard within the ADRC portal, as well as a participant-facing website. In addition, they will also have community research navigator support and culturally tailored materials and resources. So all of our cores are fully functional and really gearing up for what's to come. So I want to end by thanking our very first CLARiTI participant, Mrs. Barbara Smith-Ballin. She was scanned back in August at Wisconsin. She has been involved with Wisconsin ADRC since 2018. She's a mother of 5 and a full-time caregiver for her husband. Her father was diagnosed with dementia in the years leading up to his death. And I'd just like to conclude by reading her quote from an upcoming press release announcing CLARiTI's first visit. "I am committed to doing whatever I can to help end this devastating disease, and hopefully others will follow my lead. I truly believe this research team has what it takes to make a breakthrough. They just need to stay persistent." So with that, I will turn it over to Dr. Ozioma Okonkwo, MPI of CLARiTI and co-lead of our Inclusion Core. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Erin, for that introduction. And it's great to see so many familiar faces and some new faces, too. So I'm going to spend the next several minutes talking about the inclusion plan for CLARiTI. I'm supposed to be up here with my amazing colleague, Dr. Monica Rivera-Mint, but she is not able to be here today. She has some family stuff come up, so she's going to be, I think she's probably is remote, joining us. So usually we call ourselves the dynamic duo, but she's the dynamic one. I'm just there to make us a duo. So that's what today's going to be. All right, and some of what you're going to hear are things that you've already heard from either Sarah or from Erin, and so it's going to be a bit of a repeat going forward. So this is what the agenda is going to be for what I'm going to try to cover in the next 25 or so minutes for this presentation. Here are the team for the CLARiTI Inclusion Core. So that's Monica and myself who co-lead this. We have our panel of collaborators, consultants, and co-Is, and Drs. Bird, Kubalerti, Guzman, and Charles Winden, and then our amazing staff who actually help run the program and make everything work. If you were on the site call that we had several months ago, you probably are familiar with this slide. So this really is what the core mission for the CLARiTI Inclusion Core is. And that is that we intend for the folks who are enrolled into CLARiTI to be at least 25% from underrepresented groups. And that is classified according to 3 groups. So either somebody who is from a minoritized ethno-racial group, so that is 1. Somebody with 12 or less, fewer years of schooling, that is 2. And then somebody who's from a rural area. So any person who fits into any 3 of those buckets is somebody who is going to count as meeting your sites and centers quota for having somebody from a URP in the study. And so obviously the first milestone that the Inclusion Core has is to, again, increase the inclusion, but not only inclusion, but also the engagement of persons from URPs into CLARiTI, at least at a 25% rate for each site. And then obviously we cannot do this as just a core alone, so we hope to establish and maintain very close partnerships with all of the cores across the ADRCs, particularly the ORA cores. So on that note then, here are kind of the primary partnerships that the Inclusion Corps has for meeting the Inclusion Corps' goals. The folks that we work the most closest with at this point is NAC, and you already saw a bunch of what that partnership looks like from the presentation that Sarah did. And then we also have very close partnership, even from the steering committee level, with all the ORA cores, the all cores. And we have decided, and in partnership with the All Core Steering Committee, to have a member of the current All Core Steering Committee be a lifetime member of the Inclusion Corps going forward, to make sure that there is some continuity even as the Inclusion Corps leadership cycles through their 3-year terms. And obviously, we work very closely with Sterling and Beth and Erin and Sarah, and other members of the CLARiTI Central admin team. And then because of the forward and public-facing nature of CLARiTI, the Return of Results Corps is going to be an integral partner to the Inclusion Corps to make sure that we are also giving back to the community and not just taking from the communities that we serve. But again, these are just the current primary partnerships at this time. Our goal is to form very dynamic partnerships with all of the ADRCs and all the corps to get this work done. So what does the partnerships with the ADRC all corps look like at this point? So we have regular, at this point, quarterly, but also ad hoc meetings with the all corps steering committee. And as I mentioned, one of the current committee steering committee members is going to be a lifetime member of the CLARiTI Inclusion Corps. And then we hope to have regular check-ins with each ADRC's all core team to make sure that we are in close partnership for accomplishing their goals. And we are always available to you all to provide ad hoc consultations as each center or site needs to get this work done. And we try to be present at both the spring and the fall ADRC meetings to meet and collaborate and network with the members of the various all corps across the ADRCs. And then here is what the collaboration with NAC currently looks like. And again, these are things you had heard from Sarah, that there's going to be this public-facing website. And the whole goal of this is to truly embed CLARiTI as much as possible in the community with the public. So a big part of that is going to be the provision of brain health education to anyone who visits the website. And also for any sites that kind of need additional help with recruitment and enrollment, the portal, this website is also going to be an avenue for them to get new participants into the study. And somebody jokingly referred to the dashboard as the walk of shame or hall of shame, but that's not what we call it. But the truth is that the dashboard is going to show the metrics across all of the ADRCs, so you and your colleagues across the ADRCs can actually see how your site is doing. Hopefully, we're going to just have a lot to celebrate that all of the centers are going to be meeting and exceeding their enrollment goals. So it's going to be a wall of honor and not of shame. And yeah, so of course, the heart of the work that we do is a culturally informed, community engaged research framework. And so I'm going to spend the next few slides just kind of giving a quick overview of what that looks like, or why. So again, the first point here is why. And this is probably what most of us here already know, because all of us here are very much invested in this kind of work and really value it. And so the reason why we take a CER approach to the work that we do is that truly it makes us do better science. Inclusive science is better science. So that is really what the key premise here is. And that we want to form partnerships with communities that have in the past been excluded or sometimes even harmed by the research that we do in our academic centers. And obviously, we acknowledge that research, is not just something that we do in our silos and that it is innocuous, that the work products from our research actually have tangible impact on policy. And so we want to be sure that the data we produce have the potential to make positive contributions to the communities that we serve. And some of the principles that guide this kind of work is that the community truly is a unit of identity, and that each community comes with very unique strengths and resources, and that is what we as scientists are charged to tap into, to truly plug into what the strengths of these communities that we serve are. And so it relies on a strength model as opposed to a deficit model. And we believe that it is important and critical to form collaborative partnerships across all the phases of research, from even the point where you're beginning to conceptualize what kind of study to do, to understand that communities have a meaningful role to play in even the design of your studies, and to engage them from the onset and then across the entire arc of the research process. For us, on the inclusion core, we even go as far as including them on the papers that we publish, because they are an integral part of the work I'm getting done. And so, when we have these partnerships, which are very different from just having the community be in an advisory role, these are true partnerships where we all contribute sweat equity. So each of us contributes in a meaningful way, both from the scientific and community perspectives, to getting the work done. And we build trust and mutual respect for everyone at the table. And just a few more notes here is that when science is premised on such a foundation, it promotes co-learning. So again, both the scientists and the members of the community, they bring something that is unique and valuable to the table, and we want to create space for all of that to be heard and valued and utilized to make the science work. Again, it is a cyclical and iterative process, as topics come up and discussed, and procedures are formalized. Sometimes we have to kind of go back a few steps to go forward additional steps. And as I mentioned before, this is premised on the notion of a strengths model and as opposed to a deficit model. And again, whatever results or findings studies and generate are supposed to go back to help improve the lives of the individuals and communities that contribute to this work that we do. And over the last several years on working on these kind of things with Monica, we have shown that this process actually works. So the paper that is cited up there is the work that she and I did as part of the ADNI Diversity Task Force that is now the ADNI Engagement Core. And I think that what is remarkable about this work is that she and I were asked and charged with leading the inclusion of URPs into ADNI during the pandemic. So this work began in June of 2020, at a time when pretty much everything was shut down. But through the process of engaging community-engaged research approaches and having very close partnerships with key ADNI sites, we were able to improve the enrollment of underrepresented folks into ADNI from just 1 person every month to up to 5 individuals every month. Again, this was during the pandemic. So again, that just goes to show that that this work is meaningful, it has value, and it can have great impact if done well and done with persistence. So yeah, so again, we bring all of that then into CLARiTI to continue to grow the evidence base for this work, and hoping that CLARiTI is going to be a prototype then that other multi-site studies are going to begin to also look up to and incorporate. So what would our community, culturally informed community-engaged research protocol look like for CLARiTI? It has a number of dimensions, and they are shown here. The first there is that we have formed a community science partnership board, and you heard a bit of this from Erin, that we have a team of staff who support our work, our community research liaisons, and our community research navigators. And then we are developing in collaboration with NAC and a marketing agency, community-informed outreach materials. And we are making funds available to sites to engage in the communities that they serve. Again, I'm going to go through some of this in a bit more detail, and still try to leave time for questions at the end. So right now we have formed a 12-person large community science partnership board that meets every quarter. And again, the goal here is to develop best practices and strategies for making sure that, first of all, that we do no harm, but then going past that, that we actually make meaningful contributions to the communities that we serve. And we do this with a lens of cultural humility at each point. So again, we in even trying to compose this community science partnership board, we made sure that there was inclusion on the board in terms of education, race, rural status, sex, and so forth, because we want to be at the forefront of practicing what we are trying to help all of the other ADRCs build also. So then the second piece then of our framework is the availability of community research liaisons. And these are the staff that each CLARiTI site has received funding to hire. And these are persons who are going to provide on the ground, boots on the ground services to your CLARiTI sites. We believe that a primary focus of these individuals, the liaisons, is on the give back to the communities that they serve. So these are individuals that we expect to truly be planted in the communities and going to events and whatnot, and helping represent CLARiTI and also your ADRCs too. And then when participants whom have come to enroll in CLARiTIs from minoritized groups show up for their study visits, we anticipate that these CRLs are going to provide them pretty much a concierge service, meet them at the front door, greet them, welcome them, and help them in collaboration with your study staff to truly make the visit as pleasurable to them as possible. Because as we all know, nothing does more disservice to any study than when we've invested so much time to get these minoritized folks to our centers, and then they come in and then they have a less than optimal experience. That is truly a disservice to all of us. So the liaisons are going to help us bridge that gap to make sure that it's a soup to nut success. And then the other portion of the key staff that we have are the community research navigators. And these individuals are housed within the inclusion core itself. They are there to support remotely the work of the CRLs, and also once the dashboard and the public website are fully built, they are the individuals who are going to stay on top of all of that, responding to participant outreach, Facebook posts, and whatnot. And again, we are going to tailor how the CRNs serve your ADRC based on the specific needs of the ADRC itself. All right, and then in collaboration with this Latina-owned marketing agency called Alanis, we are going to be creating ads that are going to target specific ADRCs, and also create materials like brochures and pamphlets and whatnot. And again, every material that is going to be public and facing over and above being approved by an IRB is going to also be reviewed by the CSPB to make sure that it lives up to our CICR standards. And in addition to the funds that each center gets to hire an outreach staff, each center too is going to have the opportunity to apply for up to $10,000 every year for community research activities and events. So again, these are things that you can spend on any of those activities there, just in a way that helps you be successful with engaging the communities that you are housed within, and that you are pretty much you are guests of in many ways. And then here are some ways that the Inclusion Corps is going to continue to provide ongoing support for all of the ADRCs. And we already had one or maybe two, I'm not sure now, webinars across all the ADRCs as part of the launch of CLARiTI. And then we, as I mentioned, we plan to be at these meetings, fall and spring, to network, to meet you all, and also to present as we're doing now. And I already mentioned the collaborations with the ADRC steering committee, and one of them is going to be a life member of the CLARiTI Inclusion Corps. And we have developed and are storing up for your use and vast amount of resources to help you with the training and onboarding and becoming more familiar with this work. And again, a lot of you sitting here and maybe watching online have expertise in this area, and we encourage you and welcome you to also contribute to this archive, so that the repository is going to be as rich as possible for everyone's use. And yeah, and our goal here is to make this a custom service. So however we can help best support your ADRC, that is what we want to do. So please let us know how we can best support you. And so what do we see as the next steps then? Again, this was mentioned in either Sarah's or Erin's call, is that the Inclusion Corps is going to have one-on-one, about 25 or so minutes launch or onboarding call with each of the 36 or 7 CLARiTI sites. And the purpose of these calls is to kind of get to know you on a personal level. I will take some of these calls, and Monica is going to take some of the other ones. Us and our staff. So again, is to get to begin to build these personal relationships with each of you, because we know that is what is going to require for this work to be successful. And the folks that we are hoping are going to make time to be available for this call are, importantly, the site PI for the site, for the center, and then also the core leader for the OR core. So those are two folks that really we would hope that they would make this call a priority. And then obviously, the staff who do the actual work are the other folks that we would like to be on this call. So wrapping up then, here are the key takeaways from this time that we've spent together, is that the Inclusion Corps is focused on making sustained engagements in the communities that we serve, and that is what we are going to be helping you also imbue and translate into practice at your own centers. And we are going to work directly with you in partnership. It's going to be an iterative process where we listen to hear how you want us to best serve you, and we also bring the expertise we have to help correct course in places that need to be corrected, and also to just encourage you in the work that you are doing. Because truth be told is that part of why a lot of folks shy away from doing community engaged and research is that they say it is hard work. And yes, it is hard work, but good science takes hard work, period. And so that is what we want everyone to remember, that this is just doing good science. That's what it is. And again, we are hoping that we're going to have that wall of honor at the end of this process, where all of the sites are going to be excelling and helping mutually encourage each other to continue to do well. And I think that is my last slide. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. We do have time for questions. We're inviting all the speakers back up.
Yeah, I'll take the mic.
Anyone in the room?
Questions from anybody?
Yes.
Dr. Barnes?
Lisa Barnes Rush. Questions for Ozioma. Sorry. Hi.
Hello.
I was curious about your 25% threshold for underrepresented. Wanted to know more about how you selected that number. Is it based on science or what?
That is a fantastic question. So at the time that CLARiTI grant was being written, and we looked at what the numbers were from some of the sites, this is kind of an up and coming area of work for a lot of the sites. So we figured that 25% is something that is going to be sufficiently challenging for the sites, but also not seem to be unattainable. So that was pretty much how we came by that number. But interestingly, though, and data that I think Beth, you showed that currently, of all those who are enrolled in SCAN, a lot of those sites already are meeting that quota already. So that gives us hope that this 25% is going to be not only met, but also exceeded. But that was kind of the thinking that we had coming in at that time.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody. Sandy Weintraub, Northwestern. Is return of results mandatory, optional? How is that going to play out?
Yeah, it's optional at the site level. There's a site level decision to whether you want, as a site, want to have that infrastructure. It's also optional at the person level.
Okay, that's what I thought, but just thank you.
Hi, Jim Brewer, UC San Diego. Question for Sarah about your new portal for taking on the images. I think it's a great opportunity because having a kind of disembodied image portal has a lot of disadvantages, and now having it centrally at NAC might allow you to do some additional quality checks and making sure, potentially using the DICOM data to say, is this image that you think you're uploading to this subject actually this subject? And so I don't know if that's going to be part of your process or not, but I think there's a huge advantage of having an imaging upload portal tied into the other EDC tools.
Thank you. We're excited about it. We're working closely with SCAN, CLARiTI, and Lonnie as we think about this and how to really learn from how this has been done for other initiatives. And in addition to that, are going to be leveraging the tools available via Flywheel, which really has, its bread and butter is imaging data. So they have a number of different gears that we can use and leverage to be able to do, more QC, to be able to add on additional layers as part of that submission interface. So we're early days, but we're in the process of building out requirements for that right now.
Any other questions? We do not have any online, so unless the room pipes up, I think we might be done.
Thank you all. We appreciate your time today.